welcome back to Chatty TV Junkie. I am your junkie, Wendy, and I am back. I have not been on this channel for a while, but I wanted to come back with this brand new season of The Bachelorette with Chatty. For those who are listening on the podcast, I'm actually recording, which is what this is right here. This is for a podcast that I'm recording as well. So if you want to see me and pictures, you can always watch it on Chatty TV Junkie on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and like and all those good things. Okay, so I took notes last night. Lots of notes. And I'm going to go through all of the men and my thoughts. And if you have any thoughts, you can leave them in the description box below. And yeah, let's just get started. Now, I found, I was trying to find an app that had all the pictures on it. And this one seems to be the easiest to flip through rather than go back and forth. So they're not necessarily in the order that they came out in. But I'm just going to go through and discuss all of them. First of all, there was 25 men. Chatty is from Zach's season. She's 27 years old. She's from Georgia. Her last name is Lawson, so it's Chatty Lawson. And there was a lot of really good men in this bunch. I will say there was less gimmicky entrances like there normally are. I mean, I know in seasons past, there's guys that, come with a head out of a sink, dressed as a chicken or a shark. I think there was a guy in a shark suit once. They didn't do any of that. There was some gimmicky things, but they weren't over the top like they have been in the past. Also, it seemed like they didn't show a lot of the men, and it turns out a lot of those men did go home. I thought to myself, well, if they're not getting a package is when they put like a video montage together of the men. They only did like 5. And I will get to each one of those. But majority of the time, when they don't really do much on the men, they're not going to be on the show for long. And that I did prove to be correct in most cases. So, all right, let's go through the different men and who they are. Now, this is Tyler. You can see him here. You can see my ring in the middle, too. See if you can see that. There we go. That's a little better. So that's Tyler. He's cute. He's 32. He's a loan officer. He did a selfie on his entrance. He did like, "Hey kids, I want to introduce you to your mom." So it was a little cheesy. He was one of the ones that did a strange entrance. He had a very short intro though. That was it. It was like boom, boom, done. Yeah, he went home. So that was Tyler. So he's gone already. Then there's this gentleman, the very adorable Aaron B. He was the very first man to get out of the limo. He did get a rose, so he's staying around. He also had a video montage. So, plus he got the rose, so he's going to be around for a while. They did kiss. I'm not sure if he wasn't the first kiss, but she did kiss him. She kissed a lot of guys last night. He's a software salesman. He's from San Diego. He had a very normal entrance, nothing out of the ordinary. And later on, he did play the piano for her and make up like a little song. It was very cute, and she does like this guy. All right, the next one up is Caleb B. Caleb B, if I remember correctly, is from Orlando, Florida. He is a pro wrestler. He's 24 years old. He also had a video. He did get a rose, and he didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Like, they didn't really show him on a date with her. There was no kiss with him, but he might be around for a while. If you look at the future video of like the future episodes, he has been in them. So he does stick around, at least for the next episode. He's still around. All right. Then the next one is Warwick. This is Warwick. He is 27 years old. He's a construction manager from Nashville. And he did get a rose. They didn't really do a whole lot with him. But, yeah, so he's cute. And he will definitely be sticking around until next episode because he did get a rose. Okay, next up is Caleb. He is 28, tech recruiter from Michigan. He had a very, very quick intro. And he went home. So we don't need to worry about him anymore. Then there was Josh. So this is Josh. Josh is a Harvard grad student, and he did not mention it at all last night. So he did get a rose, so he's staying around. He's 28. He's a Harvard, he's a grad student. He's a Harvard grad student. He is from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and he was really cute. During their little date, he asked, "Is it okay if I put is it okay if I put your hand on my heart?" And she said yes, it was okay. I thought it was nice that he asked and to just grab her hand, and it was very, very sweet. And so yeah, he is sticking around. Okay, this is Adrian. Adrian got a short video. A short intro, rather. No video, just a short intro. Adrian is 33. He is a realtor from California, and he did get a rose. Next up is Joey. Look how adorable Joey is. Joey is very cute. And he is 27. He is originally from, I believe, Philadelphia, and he now lives in Hawaii. He's a tennis pro. He's 27 years old, and they had a really nice little talk, and he gave her a plumeria flower and told her that it stays in this side of her ear and until she's taken, and then she could switch it to the other side. It reminded me of like when you graduate and you flip your tassel from one side to the other. She gave him a rose. He also had a video montage at the beginning, so I think Joey might be staying around for a while. Okay, this is Caleb. There's a bunch of Calebs in this one. This is Caleb A. He is a resident physician. He is from Ann Arbor, Michigan. He gave her a stethoscope to listen to his heart on his entry, so that was really cute. And he did get a rose. Next up is Xavier. I think she really likes Xavier. Xavier had a video montage at the beginning of the show. He's 27 from North Carolina. He is a biomedical scientist, so he's really smart. He likes to knit, which I thought was very interesting also. And he got the rose, and he also got the first kiss. So there's definitely attraction there. All right, next up is John Henry. This is John Henry. John Henry has an interesting job. He is an underwater welder. He's 30 years old, from Virginia Beach, and he came in with this giant underwater helmet. So that was his little shtick at the beginning. And he also got a rose. Next up is Chris. Chris also had a video, and he didn't have a job description. All it says is that he is a world record jumper. So they showed him going from the ground and jumping onto the top of like a bunch of things that were stacked. And during the episode, after he initially met her, he was jumping up on things and flipping and you know, I think he had the video montage because he is a world record holder in jumping, but he went home. So that was one instance where a video was made of him at the beginning and he went home. So no more record jumping man. I guess when you don't have a job and all you do is jump around, it's not really appealing to women. All right, the next guy up is Joe. Joe is very cute. Joe is 32. He is a tech operations director from San Francisco. He's also super tall. He got a short little video, and sadly, Joe went home. So no more Joe. I don't know why she didn't like Joe. Maybe he was too old, because he's one of the older ones of the group. A lot of the men here are I'd say the average age here is about 27, 28. He was a little bit older at 32. So, I don't know. She apparently didn't have a spark with him, so he went home. Okay, next up is Michael. Michael is a yacht captain. He is 28 years old from Chicago. He gave her a bracelet, which was very nice. He had a very short intro, but he did give her a bracelet. And Michael is staying. He got a rose. There's another Aaron. This is Aaron S. Aaron S. is a firefighter. Now, he is 33. And even though he's 33 and older, he is staying around. He's from San Diego. They blew out a candle together. I think it was one of those unity candles that two people light when like they're getting married in some weddings, and then they blow it out together. So they blew out the candle together. I think that's what it was supposed to represent. And so yeah, he was cute, and he's sticking around for the next week. Next up is controversial Braden. Braden is a little controversial, and we'll get into that in a second. I'm trying to show his picture. All right, here we go. So he's really cute. He also had a video at the beginning. So he's 24, a travel nurse, and here's the deal with Braden. So one of the things that happened is Charity's brother came in, and she was really surprised to see him. He came at the very end, up in a limo. He was a surprise man. You already know him. I kind of guessed it was her brother. It is. And so what he did is he disguised himself. He put on a wig and a fake mustache, and he was the bartender for the night. And so he was trying to get a feel for, what the guys were saying and things like that. So a few guys were suspicious because the mustache looked pretty bad. But Braden, they had a really nice conversation. They've both been cheated on. If you recall, Charity had been cheated on by her boyfriend before she was on any of the Bachelor shows. And so she has, issues with trusting. And this gentleman said that he also had that in common with her. They really clicked. She's very attracted to him. You could see the sparkle in her eye. They made out for quite a long time. And afterwards, he was so giddy about it that he was talking up the bartender. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And he just kept going on and on and on and on. And so when it came for him to sit down with his sister to tell him his thoughts on a bunch of these guys, he said, this guy Braden, he was very braggy, and I got the feeling that he might be a little conceited, and I don't know about this guy. And so what happened is before the rose ceremony, she pulls him aside. And so you're thinking, oh my gosh, what is going to happen here? All the men are like, oh yeah, he was really braggy. We're not surprised that she's pulling him aside. And she said to him, that gentleman was my brother, and he overheard you saying what you did, and I don't know how I feel about it. And he's like, I'm so sorry. That is not my intention at all. He goes, but when I kissed you, it was just absolutely amazing, and I felt things, and I was just so excited that I just wanted to talk about it. He goes, I didn't mean to disrespect you in any way. I'm sorry that came off like that, but that is not at all my intention. And she goes, well, I need to go think for a little bit. And he's like, okay, no problem. So she gets up and she walks away, and she makes him sit there. Well, what she ends up doing is she brings back the rose, and they didn't show her picking it up in front of any other men either. So she has the rose in her hand, and she said, I've been thinking about it, and I feel the same way. I definitely felt something in that kiss, and I would like to present you with the first impression rose. Will you accept it? And he said, yes, absolutely. And so it was like, yay, the big surprise. He's not getting kicked off. He is definitely sticking around. Usually first impression roses are one of the top 4. I am not looking ahead on Reality Steves at all this season. Sometimes I peek. This season I'm not going to peek. But in general, the people that end up getting the impression rose do go quite the distance. So we'll have to see how far he gets. But so that was the thing with Braden. All right, next up is, so this is James. Okay, James is 28. He's an attorney, and he's from the Midwest. He's from Chicago. Okay, so he had a short introduction. However, on their date, he brought this box of donuts and cider from his farm in Chicago area, and inside there was a note from his mom, and he was just as shocked as she was. And he's like, oh my gosh. He goes, I had no idea that my mom was going to write a note and put it in here. She read it out loud, and the mom was like, I'm so excited that you're meeting my son. I think you'd be perfect for him. And it was just super, super nice. And he did get a rose, so he's sticking around as well. Okay, this is John. John is a data scientist from New York, New York. And they talked. They had a really great conversation. He gave her fortune cookie when he first walked in, something about their future together or something like that. It was very cute. And they also kissed. He also got a kiss from her. And so he did get a rose. So he's sticking around for a while too. I think he's one to watch because when they showed future episodes, he's definitely on, I believe he's on the date where they go on some kind of roller coaster. So he is definitely sticking around. All right, next up is Dunton. You know how they do the rose ceremony and they always have one guy who's like talking and saying, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to stay. I really want to stay. I don't know what's going to happen. And they wait to the very end. Well, that's what happened with Doughton. And he did have a video at the beginning, so it was surprising that they waited to the very end and were like, oh, maybe it's going to be a second guy that goes, even though he had a video. He is a medical consultant. He was born in Nigeria, and he's a super sweet guy, and he was given that rose, so he will be around at least next week for sure. Then there is Spencer. Poor Spencer. I felt bad for Spencer. Okay, so Spencer was extremely nervous. He's from Moore Park, California. He's a medical sales director, 32 years old. And he actually did take her aside for meeting her once everyone was inside and let her know right off the bat that he has a son. This poor guy is so nervous, coming across almost as awkward, but he seems like a really nice guy. And she did give him a rose. So I'm really happy that she did. And he's sticking around for next week. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. He seems like a really nice guy. Then the next one is Peter. Peter is also an airline pilot. What is it with The Bachelor and airline pilots named Peter? So this airline pilot, Peter, is from New York, New York. And he also had a very short intro. And sadly, this Peter is not going any further. He went home. Next up is Nick. Nick is an HR executive from Bayonne. He had a very quick entrance, and I believe he's one of the ones that went home last night, so he won't be sticking around. Next up is Caleb with a K, Caleb, and his last initial K. He is 26 from Norcross, Georgia, construction salesman. He's a tall and a short intro, but he did get a rose. This is Tanner. Tanner is 30, a mortgage lender from Pittsburgh. He gave her the Tanner towel, which was so cute. If you don't know about Pittsburgh Steelers fans, they have the terrible towel, and they like wave it around during football games. So he gave her the Tanner towel since he's from Pittsburgh. It was very clever, and he did get a rose, so he sticks around, and I'm glad because he's adorable. All right, next up is, I'm trying to find them on my thing. Okay, so this gentleman is from my town. He's here in Tampa. He is 25 years old, software sales. He brought out some kind of giant check with a heart. I don't know. I didn't like that one. It was kind of weird. But he also had a very short intro, but he did get a rose, so he'll be sticking around. Yeah, that's all of them. That was pretty quick. So that is all of the men and where they're from and everything. So yeah, the first impression rose goes to Braden, and the faces on the other guys' faces were priceless. They were like, what? So that was really good. So I think that she's got a good group of men here. I really do. I don't know what kind of drama it's going to entail. You know, there's always going to be drama. The guys are going to start getting jealous once they go on the one-on-one dates and things like that. But I think in general, she's got a really good group of men, and hopefully she finds the one. So on that note, please give me a big like and subscribe to this channel, because I will be covering this, hopefully uploading on Tuesdays or Wednesdays for the show after watching on Monday and taking my notes. And if you are listening to this podcast, you can go over to Chatty TV Junkie and you can subscribe to the channel, or you can just tune back in here because I will be doing dual recording over on the podcast and on camera for those, so you can listen in your car as well. I always like to listen to podcasts in my car. I was going to cover some other stuff, but for right now, I think I'm just going to stick with The Bachelorette. I don't know if you guys are watching the show on HBO Max called The Idol. I don't know what to think about that show. It's like one of those things where it's like really disturbing, but you can't look away. And I'm not sure, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the show. It premiered at a film festival, and it literally was split down the middle. People were like, it's garbage, and people were like, oh my gosh, it's so good. But I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's complete trash, but I don't think it's not one of my favorites. But I'm kind of on the fence. But anyway, if you have comments on that show, put that down below as well. All right, I will see you next week. Bye.